Te reo ererangi o te mānia. This episode was produced in Otatahi by Plains Media, with support from New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to Spin Me a Tale with Tessa Trolove. Let's step into a world of dragons endearing with Avis and the Promise of Dragons by Healther McQuillan and published by Ahoy, an imprint of the Cuba press in 2019. Close your eyes and let the magic carry you away. Of course her dad wanted everything explained, so Avis decided to break her promise to Melinda again. She figured that some secrets felt better when you shared them with people you could trust. They sat on the back step together, and Humbert added in his own bits to the story, which Avis had to translate. "There's something else you need to know," she said when she finished the tale. "Mum and Aaron are having a baby, and they're getting married." "I thought so," David nodded. I recognised that look that she had. She was the same with you and Bruno. There's a glow to her. She was always a good mum. The doorbell rang. "Oh no, I forgot. That'll be Mira," said Avis. "I have to go back for lunch. Will you be all right?" "With 2 dragons?" Dad asked in horror. "I'm not qualified." "You manage Bruno and me okay?" said Avis. "Yes, well, I'm working on that, but dragons? They've both eaten chocolate, so they'll be pretty sleepy for a while. You'll be fine. Just follow your instincts." But it wasn't Mira at the door. It was Dr. Melinda Child. Avis jumped with delight and relief at seeing her. She pulled her inside and shut the door quickly on the clatter of clicking cameras. Mira was at the gate, holding the reporters back. A crowd of neighbours and some local kids on bike had gathered on the footpath to see what all the fuss was about. Avis recognised Archie. He waved at her. "They wanted to know if I was your new girlfriend, Mr. Cranford," grinned Melinda. "They asked if I was a cougar, which seemed a surprising thing to ask when clearly I looked nothing like the predatory feline." Avis did the formal introductions. Dad said that he was very unimpressed that Melinda had entrusted not only illegal lizards, but 2 dangerous dragons to the care of his 11-year-old daughter. Melinda looked puzzled. Then she bent down to Avis, her eyes gleaming. "The Tiju choker?" she asked. "Chocolate dragon, not lizard. The legend was true. They hatched?" "Come and see," said Avis. Melinda was in awe of the sleeping princess dragon, and it seemed she almost forgot how to breathe for a whole minute. She checked on the skinks and geckos in the fruit fly boxes and declared them safe and well. Finally, Avis introduced Melinda to a fading Humbert. They had been very small chocolate bars, who thanked her for rescuing him from the bulldozers. Then he went to nap behind the weed pile. "I knew I was hiring just the right person for the job. There was something about you that I saw at our very first meeting," Melinda said. "This morning when all the biosecurity officers gave me the bad news that all my doves had escaped, you can bet I was puzzled. Well done rescuing the lizards, and especially the dragons. Amazing. If I had even an inkling as to what was in those eggs, I'd never have left you in charge of them. Although, in hindsight, I couldn't have found anyone better." Melinda reached out a hand to draw Avis closer. "No more secrets?" said Avis. "Quite right," said Melinda, straightening up. "I was going to ask about the legend. You didn't make Humbert any promises, did you?" Avis opened her hand to reveal the dragon's tear, glimmering like pink silk. "What's this all about?" interrupted Dad. "What have you—" The doorbell rang again. This time it was a TV reporter and a cameraman who had evaded Mira. "Can we have a comment from you, Ralph? How do you feel about your ex-wife getting pregnant to an all-black?" "Ex-all-black," corrected Avis. "And leave us alone." "Avis, it's all right," said Dad. He smoothed down his hair and stepped out of the front door. Avis thought her dad looked handsome and rugged in his gardening clothes. There was a rush as the other reporters saw him and pushed past Mira at the gate. "I am very happy to make a comment," he said in a clear voice. "I would like to send my best wishes to Laura and Aaron. with this happy news of a baby on the way. Laura is an excellent mother, the evidence of which is right here in our daughter, Avis, and our son Bruno. No parent could wish for better children. Are you bitter at the way she left you? Called a voice. How do you feel about Aaron Miller? Is he a traitor or a hero? Called another. As I said, I wish Laura and Aaron all the best. Everything I have heard about Aaron Miller is that he is a truly nice guy, and I'm sure he'll make a great father. He's not a traitor or a hero. He's just a guy trying to find his way. And he would be able to do that better if you lot left him alone. Thank you. And he closed the door. Dad, you were fantastic, said Avis. I'm working on it. On the last day of school for the year, Avis rushed with a skip in her step past Melinda's large green gate and around the corner to her house at the dead end of Menagerie Street. She leapt over the small fence at the front of the tidy garden, inserted her key into the lock, and pushed open the front door. It slammed behind her as she dropped her bag on the kitchen floor and slid to a halt at the glass-paned back door. On the other side, fuzzy through the glass, a large shape hurtled towards her, leaving a smear of saliva on the window, then dashed away. Avis picked her moment to open the door and was safely on the bottom step before a creature came at her again, tail wagging, large paws flopping on the ground, tongue ready to lick, lick, lick. Down, Theo, sit. The chocolate Labrador sat with a thump and immediately jumped up again. Sit, stay, commanded Avis, adding in hand signals that seemed to hold the boisterous young dog in place, although his waggling tail made him squirm on the spot. She fished a treat from her pocket and held it out. Good boy. Theo wolfed down the treat and then licked her hand to make sure not a single molecule was left behind. I'll just get myself a snack and then we can go for a W-A-L-K, said Avis. She may as well have said the word because it seemed Mira had taught Theo how to spell. He ran deliriously around the garden. You'll tire yourself out, silly, said Avis, but she knew he wouldn't. His energy seemed boundless. Avis went inside and opened the fridge. There was no milk. Bruno, she yelled. He came shambling out of his room. Where's the milk? He patted his stomach. I was hungry, but I left half a cold sausage for you. So you're not a total inconsiderate, greedy slob, she said, grabbing at the sausage before he changed his mind. I was planning on making macaroni cheese for tea tonight. Now I'll have to go and get some milk before I go to Melinda's. Sorry, Avi, he said. I'm not perfect like you, but I'll help make dinner, promise. And while you're out, I'll bring in the washing. And sort it, she said. Deal, he handed her a $5 note from the jar. The dragon's tear hummed impatiently inside its velvet bag under her school shirt. She was due at Melinda's house soon for another of their research sessions. Since hatching the two dragons, Avis had been quizzed by Melinda about every moment of the experience. Sometimes she came away from their sessions exhausted by the details that Melinda had demanded that she remember. Her most common question seemed to be, Why did you do that? Avis's most common answer was, Because it seemed to be the right thing to do. Humbert would listen in and smile his dragonish smile. I told you, Melinda, she's the only one that could have done it. Avis looped Theo's lead over the dog parking hook outside Papaloo's dairy. Sit. Stay, she said. Theo looked at her lovingly and sat. Avis pushed open the door and it jingled. The jingle was echoed by a round of giggles. There was a group of kids from her school standing around the magazine stand, and their giggles grew louder as Avis walked in. Mr. Papaloo came from the back room, took one look at Avis, and rushed the kids out of the store. Come on, you kids. If you're not buying, then out you go. Tasi lua talofa. Out the door. Hi, Avis, said one of the girls. How's your boyfriend? The whole group broke into hysterics as Mr. Papaloo shut the door. Never mind that silly lot, Avis, he said. Now, what can I get you today? Avis clamped her lips together, looking past Mr. Papaloo at the magazine stand. The latest copy of Gossip and Guff featured a picture of her mother and Aaron on the cover, with the words, Love Rat Leaks Baby News, and the love spreads. More inside. Avis took a deep breath, walked over and opened the magazine to a double-page spread all about how Laura was pregnant and how close friends had revealed that the wedding would be soon so that Laura wouldn't spoil her wedding dress with a baby bump. There was a big red arrow pointing to the next page. Laura's daughter catches the love bug. It took Avis a while to understand what she was looking at, how the photos of her in the car could make it look as if she had her head bent lovingly towards Drake Snelling's shoulder. She knew that had never happened. She knew that she had never reached out to take his hand, and that Drake had never looked at her so sweetly. Drake Snelling was a sneaky little bully, but here, in print, in a magazine for anyone to pick up and read, were captions and photos telling a different story. Lovely young Avis Cranford, a mini-me to Laura, the heart stealer, has found her own true love. A mystery young man accompanied her to a sneak preview of the now infamous interview given by Aaron Miller. Avis and her sweetheart were seen snuggling up close and personal. It is lovely to see her happy again now that a little brother or sister is on the way. Below this was a picture of her scowling. The caption said, "Avis, before young love came into her life." "The photo was taken that same day," said Avis. "Only they've changed the colour of my top." The heat in her cheeks was matched by heat vibrating from the dragon's tear. Hot chili chocolate fury fire. Avis tore the magazine from page to page. She ripped it to shreds and flung it on the floor. "How dare they?" she shouted. "It's all lies. Stupid, dumb lies." Mrs. Papaloo came running from the back room. When she saw Avis, she stopped and whacked her husband across the shoulder. "Noah, I told you not to let her see it. I told you to put it behind the counter." "The girls, they asked to look at it," said Mr. Papaloo. "Why do you even sell it?" cried Avis. "It's all lies. He's not my boyfriend." Mrs. Papaloo put an arm around Avis. "See, I knew it was rubbish," she said. "That Drake boy is no good, and you're a good girl. You broke up. That's good." "We didn't break up," said Avis. "We never went out. I never even liked him." Her mouth tasted all wrong, like metal. "But the pictures," said Mr. Papaloo. Mrs. Papaloo looked at Mr. Papaloo. "Get her a lollipop, Noah. She needs some sugar for the shock." She ushered Avis to the counter, and Mr. Papaloo unwrapped a raspberry lollipop and passed it to her. Avis sucked hard, and the sweet, syrupy flavour washed away the angry taste in her mouth. The heat in her cheeks and in the dragon's tear subsided. "I just needed a bottle of milk," she said. Mr. Papaloo hurried to the fridge for the milk. "No charge for the milk today," he said, putting the bottle in her hands. "Thank you," said Avis, putting it in her backpack. She used the $5 note to buy a packet of chili chocolate. Princess hadn't tried it yet, and Avis couldn't wait to see Melinda's face. Avis unlooped Theo's leash and walked past the group of sniggering kids with her head held high. She was glad it was the holidays, because otherwise the big joke next week would be her and Drake Snelling, Kissing. Hopefully by the time school started again, in 6 weeks, there'd be new gossip to entertain them. She walked beside the high green fence and ran her fingernails along it. Rat-a-tat-a-tat. A happy hum came from the other side. Avis had a happy hum inside her too. She had a promise of a dragon. That's the end of Avis and the Promise of Dragons. Thank you for listening to The Secret Adventure Story by Heather McQuillan. If you loved this book, try more Ahoy, stories by the Cuba Press. You can now listen to all of the past episodes on plains.org.nz or Spotify and Apple Podcast.